Welcome to Montreal, Canada for Season 7 of one of the most exclusive tournaments in poker. One league, 6 heats, and 12 players, all with one goal: to make it to the final table of the Party Poker Premier League.
So insane. You say I can't win flips?
How sick are you in the head?
I've been nuts. I'm not thinking about it. Don't worry.
You brought the monkey out of me because you're such a monkey.
You're so hopeless. It's amazing.
The problem is I might be playing dirty. Boom!
Makes me so mad.
You play that garbage?
Oh, my mind's just absolutely blown.
Just nice angle.
Tonight, Heat 5 concludes as we near the end of the preliminary heats and edge closer to finding out our final table lineup. For some, it will be the end of the road in the Premier League, but for others, it's just the beginning as they compete for the $400,000 first prize. Jesse May reminds us of Heat 5's actions so far.
Rast made the call of the century to take the chip lead.
This has to be a bluff. Okay, this has to be a bluff. I don't think I could respect myself tomorrow if you bluffed me here.
See, they call full.
He's the best! Wow. He's the best!
Rastinator, ladies and gentlemen!
I am Rast.
Who's the best? Wow. You're the best!
I knew he was gonna.
I was talking myself out of it, and then I just re-upped. I just put the balls on the table and said, it's time to go home. Go big or go home.
Dan Shak busted first,
That was a blow up.
making it a near impossible feat to make the final table.
Nice playing with you boys.
Esfandiari out next, leaving him in a tough spot.
It was a spot where I really didn't need to do that. I should have just flatted, seen a flop, and gone from there because I shouldn't have taken a flip.
Esfandiari now 15 points through 3 heats. He's certainly not out of it, but he's going to have his work cut out for him. Great news for a lot of the other players, Jungleman especially. Esfandiari is one of the people that Jungleman would have been worried about passing him if he had had the early exit for the top 8. Incredible stuff. And so Brian Rast, who was a little salty the last couple of days about saying he has had some really bad spots, hasn't gotten good cards. He's had the kings, doubled up with those, doubled up with the jacks. Things are good.
Like right now, I mean, he's got, there's just too many stacks that are massive in like relative to the blinds. There's people with like 40, 60, 70 big blind stacks. I mean, you just can't justify shoving. You can't really justify going all, raising a ton of hands. But when the blinds go up, it'll be interesting to see how he handles the big stack if he still has it.
12,000 call.
And Phil Laak, he's given enough action tonight that you can't begrudge him to get a little bit with the 2 kings. He's certainly earned it.
Check.
Colman, though, understands that Laak now is kind of freewheeling in that he's looking to get his pot chips into gamble, so you don't really need to try and, you're not going to try and push him around right now, are you?
No. I think Colman's strategy is going to be revolving around playing as many pots with Phil Laak as possible. As it should be, I mean.
But I mean, between calling here and shoving on Phil, overall, which do you like?
Between calling and shoving, well, it looks like he likes shoving. Yeah. I don't like calling, so if I had to choose, I would shove.
All
but
in call.
I might even fold.
It was all in.
Yeah, you know what? I like the shove.
All in, yeah.
Yeah. A lot less than that.
I'll tell you honestly, normally I'm always prepared to walk. This one I have a sentimental push for my emotion. It's gonna hurt. This one would hurt. Most of the time I'm very good. Can you give like 4-second pause so I can align myself with if I lose? Hold on. Okay, a 7 can roll off a queen. Doesn't help my 7.
Hard. I'll take it hard.
Okay, I'm ready.
Phil is the only guy. If he loses
I just wanted to be able to
Sorel,
take it.
he is out of the Premier League. Like, just out. I don't think there's any way possible he can make the top 8 if he gets knocked out right now.
I'm still ready. I can lose it. It's okay.
And the double up for Phil Laak.
How much is it?
Yeah, it's 71,000.
Phil's down on the ground. That's a lot of emotion in this man. Just sit-ups, man. So that was right. That was that was a good play. This is really something.
Chill, man.
Oh,
he's really doing
it. He wants it. He's so good.
You can stack them. I'm flying.
I'm just gonna push him over. I'll let you get I'll let you get the enjoyment of stack.
I like what he said, which is that
Kind of deserve that.
in any other tournament, he's really prepared to die.
Can I say him, Phil?
He doesn't want to in this Premier League.
He's having way too much fun.
You got me. Lured me in.
Philip Courtney Laak. He's a really good friend of mine, definitely unique. Nobody is like Phil Laak. He is the one and only.
The problem is I might be playing dirty.
He's probably the most interesting guy in the field. I mean, he's something really special. He just plays a little differently than everyone. I just can't wait to see what style, what personality you're gonna see.
I just love it so much. I can't just let you. I'm sorry.
He sees everything completely different than any person I've ever been around in my life, including his poker game.
Oh, he was this, this live player who just sits around and waits for the nut. He's crazy. He's really crazy, and you can just bluff anywhere.
We've played some crazy pots together over the years. Yes, I won one versus Phil. Oh. I'm looking forward to playing with him and just hanging out with him for this week in Montreal for sure.
This is very similar to the last
It's a point
heat,
thing.
in which
You're
you
supposed
look
to
at
flat,
Phil,
by the
he's
way.
got
That's right.
188,000, and you say,
And then maybe go with it, probably.
he's lucky to have that many chips. He should have been out 3 times.
Ace 5, you know that. He thinks
It's the thing. After you make the mistake in 3-bet, what are you supposed to do?
Well, here's the thing. This is what happens when you lose the flip. He's out at one point at 15. Now he might not make it.
Yeah, listen.
When he was,
the JG school of thought would not have gone in. I don't think. Maybe now in this scenario, but not with your guys.
And I think Rast thinks that it was a
I don't
bad
mind
call
getting
as
ace
well.
king in now. I'll tell you guys that right now.
He's of the
That's
school
not
of
secret.
thought
Put ace
that
king
you
in.
shouldn't, if you make one mistake, you shouldn't compound it with another, which is true, obviously.
12,000.
But with Antonio with the line that he took, I mean,
He could have gone super crazy, Antonio, and just 3-bet shoved.
Yeah.
I wonder if that should have been in his arsenal, but probably not.
I think calling, after thinking about it, calling seems like the best play by miles. You get to see a flop against Rast in position with a hand that's under-repped. You don't have to re-raise and risk that he's going to 4-bet and put yourself in a bad spot. And Antonio immediately recognized it after 3-betting and after calling 4-bet that it was an error.
And this is an
39,000.
interesting little play here by Jason Koon. My guess is this is sort of a one-move type play, Sorel, which is that he's making a 3-bet, but it's like he's not really, he doesn't really intend to follow this through. He just wants to see if a 3-bet will win the pot. Like, would you agree? Or?
Absolutely. I think he's just going for a re-steal here, and that's strictly it. Like, I mean, you saw with when he 3-bet me with the king queen and I shoved, he folded. It's just one of those spots. Okay, I'm gonna try to take the. What? I'm not going to write the plus 27,000. He's risking 39 to win about 30,000, and it's going to work most of the time. But you never know with Dan Colman. I mean, he's looking at the sheet right now, and he's like, okay, if I shove here, then there's Koon cannot call. So maybe that's what I have to do.
Right, Koon does cover him by about 110,000. So
basically Phil. And same with
Koon might be calling with very top of his range type hands, besides ace king, ace queen, or something.
Yeah, he's probably not even calling ace queen. He can't. I don't think he can. he has to keep moving up. He has to keep moving up the ladder, and with Kate's so short and Laak on the short side as well, it's just not worth it.
People wanted to hang out outside, I would have continued to hang out outside. Didn't bother. I was having fun. I was suppressing
and I also think that he's probably only flatting with ace queen.
And like only
he's
about
only
3%.
He's only 3-betting hands that it's obvious that he's going to fold if it's a 4-bet, or hands that he's going to call if it's a 4-bet.
I mean, you've talked it through to a point where, you know, and Colman does have an ace backup, where maybe he should...
I should probably go all in.
Then he should go all in.
The last 2 days.
Because
you get no fucks.
A lot of hands there.
I
Because your points and I need it.
I do get. You do need points.
Huh?
It's a
You
lot
do
of
need
chips,
points.
and that's probably...
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily. I need points to be an auto.
Yeah, no,
But I don't need points not to bust.
Yeah, no, no.
Yeah, that is probably true, Sorel.
Yeah,
is that because 2 players have gone out, Koon, if he busts now, would have 3 points, which is hugely likely.
I probably read about it online a little bit, but
the mood has lightened
talking
now
with
that
people about that
Antonio
one.
has left, and not that they don't enjoy having him at the table, but everybody at this table is looking rosier with him.
12,000. Fold.
Yeah, Antonio was one of those players that everyone
Fold.
wanted to see bust. I mean, for Dan, I guess it's sort of, he's indifferent, but anyone in the
Raise to
middle of the pack
30,000.
is going to be rooted against.
Fold.
So, Jeff Gross thought about this. I mean, has he 3-bet to call a shove? Interesting.
I don't think he knows.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows if he's going to call a shove.
Check this out. Rast thinks there might be a spot here. He thinks this might be a spot.
Looks like he's going for it.
I mean, is this a sick spot? Is this a little bit, is this sick? And this is, I am this sick, he's saying. I'm this sick.
God, I love Rast.
I am this sick. He's pretty sick, isn't he?
He is pretty sick. He knows that
Re-raise.
Coleman is opening light. Gross is recognizing that Coleman is opening light, but probably has a hand, but simply cannot call or shove with like less than queens. And even then, it's tough.
Right.
Or actually, I mean,
and Rast has made it, he's kind of made it super tricky by almost looking like he's inviting Gross to shove.
Right.
Because he's doing it cheaper, essentially. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like he's inviting him to call. You know, Gross still has 400,000, so it doesn't seem like he's. I mean, he might shove here, but it's a big shove for him.
I'll tell you, this is not the first time. Jeff Gross is like, you know, you're so happy when you do well in the Premier League and have a lot of points, but actually, it starts to make things get complicated, and you have to make complicated decisions.
Oh, Rasty, put me in a tough spot. All in.
All in.
Wow.
And he did it! He did it!
Wow.
2 queens,
He actually
huh?
did
After
it!
all that,
He did it!
wow.
Fold.
It's amazing
I did
because
not know what to do.
He
By the way, I
did
did not have
it.
2 queens, and I would not take that long. 2 queens, and I did not have 2 queens. I'm playing tight, but not that tight, Rasty.
it's great because
Trust me, Colman was cheering for you to put it in.
0%.
100%.
Yeah, I just decided, like, you're just one of the, you know, it's a perfect spot for you. I was just deciding if it was like if you had ace king, if you were gonna, like, you have so much chips, do you call off?
I probably could have ripped on you.
And you know, Jeff Gross is a guy who every time they've
What do I
set
owe?
a bar for him, he has flown over it. Have a look at the leaderboard. Brian Rast is still out in front with nearly 1 million chips. As he is currently at the bottom of the league table, it could be his chance to jump up the league standings tonight. Those in trouble are Phil Laak and Daniel Jungleman Cates. As both are playing their last heat, a bad result tonight could see them eliminated from the Premier League. Heat 5 action continues here in Montreal after the break. Welcome back to the Playground Poker Club in Montreal for Season 7 of Premier League Poker. Those making their debut here at the Premier League are certainly doing well, and when you look back through the history of this event, it has been the newbies who won through and have been crowned champion. JC Tran overcame Tony G to win Season 3. David Benjamin beat Luke Schwartz in Season 4. Scott Siever beat arch rival Jungleman in Vienna, and Dan Shak beat Sam Trickett in London. Can a debutante take down the title again?
I finished them all by the end of the night. Yeah.
He did misfire a little bit, heat number 3, Jason Koon, but
just make sure
he's been
Jeff has light
tactically
calling.
very
So
strong.
I was worried. I thought one of these
throughout
players
most
had
of
to
this
win
Premier
that
League.
cappuccino.
And it's kind of the
Yeah,
ideal
almost
position
good. I
you
got
can
my
be
waterfall mode
in if
activated.
you're him, like for a guy who really hasn't gotten that many
This
great
is mine?
cards.
Maybe we should,
which
you know
is
what,
that
Cynthia, in the
it looks
future,
guaranteed
if
for
you
the
could
top
fill in
8,
me a water,
and
like,
if
could we put
things
like
go
a J
right,
and a
he can
P
still
on
make
it or
top
something,
4.
like maybe
That's
like
about
a,
the best you can get
13,000.
in the Premier League
You know, like right
without
on the
having
top,
something
like a
go
letter
really well
with a
for you.
marker. Do you have a Sharpie or not? Yes, that's good. That's even a better one. I like that. Thank you.
Why don't you start the hand with?
53. Colman's asked for the count on Phil Laak. The answer is he's got about 25 big blinds. When you shove on...
I'm all in.
Okay,
Raise
all
in. Yeah, that's what I thought he was going to do. I mean, it just puts Phil in such a bad spot, and I think at this time, Colman knows that.
Oh, probably overcoded, or you're
Phil's
just doing that
opening way too many
9-3 junk. It's one of the two.
It's sort of interesting with the fact that
Like
Antonio
if he
is
has,
out.
you know, Ace Jack and I have Ace 9 or something.
I thought you meant like oversuited, coded. I don't know what code meant.
Or that's maybe undercoded. I don't know. Like 10-10, Ace 10 and 10-9. Maybe that's overcoded. Something like that
sense.
where we share a card and it's not good for me. That's kind of the thinking. But he could have the 9-3 offsuit.
I think Brian Rast called this.
You know I'm calling though. That's the problem. You know I have the best hand though. That's the real problem. You know I have the best hand, so you're not doing that without having me beat. I'm allowed 1 year old fold every once in a while.
He never just releases. He never just like says, "Okay, I know I'm folding. I'm gonna fold." He has to get that little bit of extra TV time. You know, that's his style.
He's giving the right kind of
I'm all
negative
in.
information. Where
I call.
You moved it? Okay.
Blinds are going to go to 4,000 and 8,000.
Yeah, I really wouldn't either.
Laak
I
and
almost just put it in.
Jungleman, both on the bubble. Of course, if Jungleman goes out next, he will have 20 points. And if Laak can get 19, he'll be ahead of Duhamel, Esfandiari, Scott Siever, Vanessa Selbst, and Dan Shak. Guaranteed. That's 5 people.
But how
Two
many of
them
those
have to
players
pass.
are playing tomorrow?
Well, all of them.
All of them. So
Yeah. I mean, those are only the ones who are playing
CD3,
tomorrow.
17,000.
So to get 2 people of those to pass you, actually, it's not as likely as you might think, given what the dynamics will be.
Like 100 total?
Colman's asked for a countdown of Jungleman stats.
Seat 1 re-raise, all in.
Makes me so mad. What the
Oh my
I was
God.
going to do that, but now it's like way more awkward. So insane.
Fold.
Probably giving Rast a clue. Jungler, he just puts it all out there. He doesn't mean anything by it. There's nothing personal. He just puts
I
it
had
all out
pocket
there.
fives. If I had 8s, I call.
I'd be happy he did that. Yeah. I call you. We're flipping.
Really?
Good spot for you. Yeah. I have the 9-8 suited.
Huh?
You have to think.
You have 100K, buddy.
He's having a good time.
100K, let's go. Get the Jungleman out.
Call blind Phil.
Coleman likes to try to hurt me. I don't really hurt him. I have hands like kings and big
Sure, you
pairs.
had all the
8,000
hands.
I'm not
level.
this guy.
I'm not sure what
It's when
he's up
Coleman
against
seems
you.
to wake
That
up
was
and make the
honest,
light
but-
3 bets, Sorel.
Wasn't dishonest.
You know, it's when it really starts to
Just
hurt.
honest.
The
It had to have
blinds,
been
the
at
antes
least
go up to 2,000. It's a really good stealing level.
Yeah, it had to be a little bit.
Yeah, this is when Coleman is going to start.
Seat 1 raise,
opening
16,000.
wider and
Fold.
You're in the ballpark.
We've seen,
Yeah.
you know,
We're
you've
talking,
obviously
everyone
had a
guesses
better
it's like ace,
view
queen, or
of
mid
what's
pair.
going on from the booth, but it feels like
I knew it was kind of
it feels like Colman's whole strategy the entire time was just be tight at the beginning and
That's not folded pretty
loosen up.
quick. If you made
I
like
mean, with the
70K, I
exception
think I was just
you know
ripping.
that crazy bluff that he pulled on Jungleman.
There's a couple things going on in my head.
But yeah,
I think it's my first full format of the whole thing.
Yeah.
You can't even get
And
it
look
through.
at
It's
Jason
so
Koon,
sick.
by the way, flatting the 2
I don't know how
tens.
many times this guy's done it.
This
Everyone
is what
falls
everyone
fucking-
else should have been
What is
doing,
wrong with
and
me?
he's putting it into action.
Absolutely.
But Phil
Yeah,
has it all.
he's the first person to
They call me when I'm bluffing for
I think
200.
he's seen the errors of other people's ways.
Coleman, I was like, you can't call. He's gonna call 50, so I'll just end it with one of those.
Can't
Like,
call-
you do that in
can't
the
call all
10, 20
in.
game down in the comments. Maybe that works. But here, I don't think
I took it up a level and Rast got to that level. That was
And yet
problem.
the blinds are big enough
I should just go right
you know, like as Coleman showed us,
I wish
if
I
I
wish I
go
had
3
value
streets
that.
on
That's
you,
gonna work
you
against
know,
any pair
that's
on
essentially your stack anyway.
Ace king through any pair.
Granted, it feels a little risky for that size of the top, but whatever. Everyone has a stop. Phil's got a good stop.
C1 bet 26,000. Fold.
Yeah, that's all. See, yeah, I mean, Jason, he's just playing it perfectly. Like, you know, you can't be 3-betting before the flop, especially against a player like Dan Colman, who's just gonna like up the pressure so often. And now he can just get away. Like, it's just so much better to take the less variance route in these situations. With how
And
the
sometimes, you know, actually have to fold the winner, which, like, in some spots, that's what he would have had to do there.
Right.
C8 raise 80,000.
I mean, as it turns out, Rast has got him crushed, but, you know, Colman would have made that same bet either way. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just every spot everyone else gets in is so goddamn easy too. It's like, oh, I know what I do there. 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 Okay, maybe I don't know what there, but then like I get in that spot.
He's such a good dude. Like, he just
120.
no one who doesn't know him would ever know, but he's like, he's the man.
He is.
He's great.
That's
I
exactly
made a
what
pair
I
on the
would
river
be
though.
thinking in
Not
my
on the
head,
river, but
but
like
I just
had
wouldn't
a
say
pair.
it. I just wouldn't be saying. You would just
After all
sit
5
there,
cards rolled, I had
smile,
a little pair.
and the
I
voice
thought
in your
maybe
head
you
would be
could be,
saying those
sticky
exact
fingers.
words.
Correct. Pretty much verbatim.
Coleman could have had sticky fingers.
C6 raise
Put the little
18,000.
raise in.
Fold.
Obviously, he's calling Jungleman.
I'm all in. C1 re-raise all in.
I mean, I just wonder.
I think Coleman's playing this correctly as well.
Could be 9-6. Could be 9-6, Coleman. I've seen this is the mastery area of your how you do it. This is how he does it on this
I
level.
wonder if open shoving
On this level,
or
doing the
folding were the
9-6
two
is
proper
weight level.
plays for Phil with this type of hand.
It's he has made the declaration correct. I remember correctly. All of his chips are in there, so it's up to me to fold or call.
Are you hesitating because you know this is a math question that a guy like Scott Sieber could figure out in 10 seconds, and you don't want to do the calculations?
Well, that's part of it, but also I just think that
all my
his
chips,
hand
huh?
is basically has the same value as air.
Fold.
I'll pay you cash money to see it.
How much?
I don't know. How much do you need? I made 20,000 last night staying outside. Like, what? Yeah. The money flows free in Montreal. You know?
$20.
Wow. You would make it up at 200.
No, I don't want to do it.
I mean, Dan could be shoving King Jack suited, Jack 10 suited.
Yeah.
Could Dan shove Jack 9 suited? I mean,
When he asks for $20, it's weaker than Ace 9. It's got to be Ace 8, Ace 7, Ace 6. It's one of those 3 hands.
Phil, empty, please.
Once you offer $20, I know what your 3 hands can be.
I'm not shoving 9-6 on you, Phil.
No, but it's either Ace 7, 6, or 8.
I'm
If you had like pocket jacks, was your price $20?
No, I mean,
think
I'm not
about
trying
it.
to make it expensive for you.
I maybe missed one, Rast.
I don't think it was price sensitive.
Fold.
I may have missed one.
now he should.
I didn't take a van
look
here like
to
these guys. I
induce,
gotta pay for
right?
gas
Nines
money,
is
you know?
strong enough to try and
$20.
induce.
Yeah, I think so. I think like Phil
C6
should have
raise
been calling the
18,000.
last hand with Ace Jack plus.
That's the hand where if I lose the match,
And this is bad
that's
news
the hand.
for Rast.
Great news for Phil Laak.
C8 re-raise all in.
And Rast is going all in, and Coleman's got the jacks. Look at his face.
Wow. I wonder if he's just trying to get Phil in, or no, this is a genuine decision, but I think he has to call here. I mean,
I see a sheet.
My range here would probably be 10s plus, ace queen suited plus, but even ace queen suited would be a tough call.
He's asked for the sheet, and he'll look at this. If
Seal
he
the deal
gets
right
busted
here.
out right now, he'll have 37 points, and Jeff Gross will still be in. So,
Marty guaranteed.
and he knows, guess he knows that if he folds here, he's likely to move up a spot.
Right.
But the truth is that he actually, because he has to post a score, he kind of has to beat Jeff Gross badly in this. I mean,
yeah, but he has to know that Rast is just calling, Rast is just shoving so many hands against the Phil, who's opening so wide at this point. Jack's is just too strong.
Like now, actually, Phil, who could never fold
Is this
those
really what
nines,
happened? I mean,
actually
I put
kind
these
of has to, right?
5 checkers out, and then he put out a bit. Did you say all in or
He
big
said all-
this bet?
he said
You
all
said all in,
in.
and you just said I call. You put all your chips in. So 2 opponents have all their money in right
I think
now.
at this point it seems like an easy fold for Phil. Like, I don't think Dan is ever calling here with Rast.
I mean, I can't beat you. I can beat you. I'm racing you, and I can't beat you. Wow, you have 2 jacks or 2. How do you have 2 jacks here?
It's an easy
jacks.
Yeah, that's good.
Dan, he realizes it was a great spot, and
I know I'm going with
this
you.
opens up.
Yeah, I want you to go in with me.
Yeah, I just can't handle
Look at-
jacks.
I want to bust you. Look at the sheet. I really want to. I need you to go out for me to make the finals.
I know.
You know? I mean, that's.
And I know that, and I have a big hand, so I have to run with that one.
We would have raced, right?
Yeah. No.
Oh, no, you had a bigger pair?
Yeah.
So everybody at the table rooting for Rast, I
If a
think.
9 were to come, that would be so painful.
Nobody has spades.
Are they?
Pretty safe spot.
Well, they all move up a spot.
They all move up
You
a
have a
spot.
deuce.
That's right. But, oh my God.
Chill.
But what?
But
what?
But some people want Rast to bust.
You would have beat me too. You would have beat me. And I couldn't. I have no recourse. I can't stop you from seeing that I have 9s. You would have hit a deuce on me. Here.
Even if Rast lost that pot, he still has a lot of chips.
He's not used to not being on the podium.
That was quite epic.
Fighting with you is something
Dan
epic, bro.
Colman,
Some
this
days,
is
I'm just gonna
3
like.
points for him.
I don't know.
I'm sure Colman knows inside his head how good or bad that play was.
What play?
So with that knockout, Rast increases his chip lead to 1.3 million. He is on fire and well on his way to winning this heat. As for Dan Colman, he has now played 4 heats and is in the clubhouse and can be quite satisfied with a successful Premier League up to this point.
Dan Coleman's qualifying stages are complete, 37 points, which means you're guaranteed a spot at the final table. But what do you need to have happen right now for you to go in as the chip leader?
I guess I need Jeff to bust right away at this heat, and then next heat just go out early. But I think there's not a good chance of that because everybody's going to be folding to him, you know, trying to move up in spots.
Dan Colman actually guaranteed he is to be at that final table, but all of a sudden, he may not be the chip leader. This is huge news for the Jungleman and for Phil Laak and Jason Koon. Obviously, Rast and Gross are quite happy with what's going on. The math seems to suggest that both Jungleman and Phil Laak have increased their chances of getting in the top 8. Jungleman may be there for sure. Jason Koon is there for sure now with 5 points at least.
The top 8? Yeah, Jason's going to make it. Now,
Jungleman's going to be posting 22 at least now.
C5 raise 24.
Phil Laak now guaranteed to post 19. I mean, I wonder if this is the play for Phil Laak.
Seat 6, re-raise, all in.
I'm not sure it is. I'm not sure that's the play.
All in call.
All right, JG.
110 total.
Jungleman is happy.
Jungleman is very happy
Could
to
have
see
folded that,
this.
Philly boy.
But I don't know if Phil can fold.
So if I get
really don't
5,
know.
I'm going to be
But, you
19.
know, JG is not, he's not known to open the button late either.
Yeah. Your hand's 100%. Oh, I could have folded that. That would have been so sick. Or flat and try and steal. No.
I think Phil.
He's playing really careful. I could have made a hero fold. Sorel made one of those hero folds. You guys are tough.
Phil, far from
I might
over.
still get the heads up. Well, yeah.
Yeah, you can win still. No, you can't.
Oh, that'll do it.
Is that all?
I mean, his Premier League is not over. He is
I don't see how to
going
win.
to be alive,
Pound
but
either
he's
way,
going
so I
to
love
have
you.
to be one of those
You guys
guys
are
on
awesome.
the sidelines, hoping things go a certain way.
Hoping people lost in a certain way.
I could have folded. That would
And
have
he
been
might
sick.
have, with 2 more points, he
Could've
might
folded
now be
that.
like 33 to 35% to
Win the
make the
money.
final delay. And with 2 more points, he might have been over 50%.
That would have been a sick fold.
I feel like Phil Laak
All
could
right,
get
guys.
2 more points. I mean, he's going to be sick
Let me go to the
of
bathroom. I'll
if
be
it
right back.
turns out that
5 ace king of
points
hearts,
get you in.
better.
It was fun. And now I think there's, there's always hope for the heads up thing and stuff. There's a lot at stake with a lot to be said for just waiting. I had way more than trouble. But, these are the decisions we make in these things, and we go for it.
That's true. And now the decisions are all left on the shoulders of the players that are still in this heat and the ones playing in the final heat. And then we will know who's at the final table.
After 4 knockouts in this heat, these are the current league standings. Those highlighted still have a chance to win the maximum 14 points. Sitting comfortably in the top 4 places for the moment are Dan Colman, Sorel Mizzi, Jeff Gross, and Jason Koon. Chip leader Brian Rast, however, who is only on 6 points, now has a chance to leap into the playoff zone if he wins this crucial league match. Down to 4 here at the Playground Poker Club. Back for more after the break.
You play that garbage?
It's pretty bad, dude.
It's all good, buddy. Do what you got to do.
My mind's just absolutely blown.
Premier League stuff is sick, bro.
I am in Barney Rubble trouble.
Welcome back to a bustling Playground Poker Club here in Montreal, which is a real favorite with poker players of all levels. Tonight, it's the pros that are putting on a show here at the Premier League, so let's get right back to the action.
This is crazy.
Very tactical right now for guys like Koon and Gross, who need the most points they can get, along with the Jungleman. For Brian Rast, however, it should be full guns blazing. He's checking out what the others need to do. Doesn't need a hand as good as sevens to get aggressive here.
C8 raise
It always
17,000.
opens. I guess I should just put it in.
C2
Feels
re-raise all
automatic
in.
for the
I have
Jungleman.
pocket 4s.
No, he's not going to like
What?
this.
That's sick. That's so sick.
Folded ace 4.
Oh, you did?
Don't break the jungle's heart.
I don't think you break Jungle's heart after he just pulls off 4th place.
Yeah,
but that's
jungle's
I pulled a 4th place.
Yeah,
We're
he's
gonna end this one
stoked.
early today.
You're chilling.
Yeah, he's stoked out of his mind.
Does he look stoked right now?
I think you can have like ace 2.
Well, he's not going to be now.
You never know.
That's actually, you take that. That's not the worst flop in the whole world.
That's pretty bad.
It's not good. No one's going to say it's
It's
good.
pretty bad, dude.
Needs to come spade. It is pretty bad. And this one is over by the turn.
But he's got to be happy to get ahead of Phillips.
Yeah, Jungleman pull off a good finish in this heat despite the early troubles.
How many more hands is it? It's got to be that.
Jungle got 7, right?
And there's going to be some real tactical stuff coming up
All you
now.
need me to do is take out Koon. And then you basically lock up
play my big
first.
hand.
24 points for Jungleman takes him into the top 4 zone, but it's only temporary. Jason Koon will knock him back down, and then, in the last heat, there are still several players that can overtake him and push him out of even the playoffs.
And that's 24 points for Daniel at the end of the qualifying stages. Obviously, we don't know yet whether you're going to be making it to the final table or into the heads-up matches. What do we have to be watching right now to figure this out?
Well, we went through the number of points people need to get, but there's like 4 players that have to beat me to qualify. And like 2 of those players kind of have it easy. They need to get like a 3rd or 4th. Jonathan needs a 4th, I think, and then Rast needs a 3rd or better if he wins this one. And then the other 2 players need to get a 1st or 2nd. So I'm like definitely a favorite to make like the middle 8. But I mean, it's still not 100%. It's like 90% or something silly. Yeah. And so I guess I'll sleep well tonight.
You should, and hopefully we'll be seeing you in the heads-up stages. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So much has happened that it's tough to keep up. All the players sitting there with their noses buried in the score sheets, as are we, because the dynamics change so quickly. But just to set the scene, obviously Phil Laak and Jungleman just knocked out. Jungleman's okay. Phil Laak to wait and see. And for Brian Rast, he desperately needs to make as good a showing here as possible. He'll be playing the next heat and will want to give himself the maximum possibilities to still make the top 4, if not being in the playoff zone. And it's going to be harder now because right now Jason Koon and Jeff Gross are in spots where they don't have that much pressure on them. Button and big blind here. 3-bet from Koon, both on the same hand.
This is just going to go in, and we're going to get a chop.
We raised 140 total.
Well, this is the exact
raise all in
that I
call
had against Phil Laak, and I got there with the ace of clubs.
That's right. So that's right. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, anything could happen, but he had the ace king of hearts, so.
A lot of these guys have the pressure released off them. I mean, the guy who's probably
I had you boys.
would be most upset
10,
to
3
go
of
out in
hearts.
third
Yeah, you'd be
right
running
now.
right now. Is this similar to the Phil
I'd be like, let's go.
Phil Laak and Mizzi situation, but we feel like I feel like a chop. Feels sorry with that.
Jason Koon maybe.
Man, ace queen could have been either one of our hands there pretty easily.
Yeah. I like that.
Oh, wow.
Pretty good.
That is not a good flop for Jeff or me.
A little adversity, Rast.
Yeah.
Right, Sorel, you have to funk hugely against Jason Koon in this spot because every place he inches up makes it tougher on your mission.
If Koon hits here, it's worse for me than it is for Jeff. Dodged a bullet.
Good sweat for you there.
Yeah, well, it's fun, but
it really is. I mean,
but Jason might have forgot for like 30 seconds that this is Montreal. You know, like they're gonna tease me. They're not gonna like hurt me. They're just gonna like let me know, like, listen, it's possible. They want to warm me up to the possibility.
Yeah, he's got 29 right now. And Gross has got 34 in the bag.
Yeah.
Dan Colman has posted 37 in the clubhouse. So if Jeff Gross gets knocked out next, he will then need to finish, I believe,
I'd like seeing that
5th place or better in order to be chip leader at the final table. And if he can just outlast one more place, it's going to be like, I think, 6th place or better.
Today raised 17,000.
Brian Rast, though, if he only takes 9 points from this, he's got 15 in the bag. He's still going to need like a top 4 finish,
2-3 call,
you would guess, depending on who he finishes above and below in the last heat, just to make the top 8. A win would really seal the deal for Rasty. If King Rast can win this heat, then he'll probably be guaranteed for the final 8 and have a
65,000 total
to even make the top 4. So this is interesting. Gross is kind of saying, I have the least pressure on myself, and maybe he's right. This is a nice little 3-bet.
Yeah, see, this is where once JG gets on the podium, that's when he starts like opening it up a little bit more. I've noticed, you know, and people give him credit. He's got moves, you know. The kid has moves.
Is Rast asking a question about, you know, how much Jeff Gross wants to inch up one more spot? I mean, does he think a 4-bet is going to get Gross to fold a lot of hands?
I think he thinks that a 4-bet would work often.
Oh, he's a sick
one.
he's a sick one.
But I don't think it's gonna at this point.
I mean, you know, he was talking really sick
total
when he was in here the last 2 heats. He's sick.
He really is. He might be the sickest.
I'll tell you, this is not the first time that he's scared Brian Rast down. We saw it before with the 2 9s, and we were sure he was folding, and then he shoved him in.
Rast is just a solid oak tree right now. Like, he's just too seasoned and too good to like give anything away in the spot.
Rasty, this might be for the double win.
By the way, I'm very happy to announce that Phil Laak is sitting next to me, and he currently has a microphone and earphones in.
And Phil, you realize that you're going to be the hardest sweater in the last heat, right?
Yeah.
There will be a lot of permutations that keep you in this Premier League. What kind of energy are you going to do? All that, you know, the vibes,
the vibes,
the funks,
the funks,
I
and
feel
the
like you
vibes.
have a better hand this time.
They do need to be called in.
I don't know what to do.
Well, you can't call now. He's given up his hand.
Feels like you have that hand.
You're definitely
like that.
sick enough to appreciate that Rast
Should've
is
just called
the king
that. Calling
making that call against you, right?
Calling's definitely an
Did you appreciate
Calling
the beauty
or-
of his call against you, or are you just sick as a
You
dog?
know, when you're one of the knights in a kingdom with a king as great
something.
and powerful as King Rast, you love that he wants to go
Very
out to the
close.
courtyard
No
and
bullshit.
do the jousting and play with the knights. Like, that's
Not
what's so
wasting our
fun.
time,
I get to
trust me. I'm
joust
not
with a
just
king.
gonna
It's the
follow
most fun ever. Yeah.
Sick puppy, Rasty.
One of the sickest.
I would have liked to see a flop after the fact. But
Well, you had an option. You could have just called
grabbed the deck. Yeah, I did.
do
I
battle today.
C3 raise 18,000.
trying to adjust
At
from
any
my
point.
the heads up with
Pretty
Mizzi
amazing,
mistakes. You know?
really.
Fold 18,000.
He was
Cost me that match.
absolutely no factor
Call.
in the first
Timing
two
is
heats.
nuts. There he goes.
Yeah, here he is.
Heads up. C8 check.
Well, this is not going to go on too long if he just flops the joint every time.
And Jason picked up a pretty decent hand too. He's got the higher straight draw with a backdoor flush draw. His chips are gonna be exchanged.
C3 bet 24,000.
That was the kind of spot where Scott Seaver would have made a super sick check back. Maybe
Poor
not.
JG.
Maybe not.
Wow.
That's not good if you're Brian Rast.
I'm surprised Brian just called, to
they
be
check.
honest. I mean, his hand is pretty vulnerable, and
Right, and Koon's like doesn't really have that many chips that you need to be thinking about in your blind. I mean, you can just stack them right there.
yeah. Exactly, like Koon might he's going to be put in a really bad spot with two pair or any queen. Anything that he bets there, really, that's not complete error.
Bet 34,000.
There's no way he did it so he can get away from it. Did he?
I mean, no, he didn't do it, but after that card, I mean, he's definitely not folding the turn, but he might be able to fold the river.
Call.
If you're as good as Rast, you could always find a fold when you're beat. I think Rast might actually fold to Koon's bet here. I mean, because Rast could so easily have a king. And because Rast can easily have a king, no, because Rast could easily have a king, Koon is bluffing a lot less.
Bet 44,000.
How much?
44.
He's bet super small. It's a quarter pot bet. He
Wow.
falls into a quarter
Instantly.
pot bet.
Instantly. Doesn't even think about it. He's pretty good, this Rast guy. He calls with ace high, but he folds a straight. That's the power of the Rasty.
The Rastinator is playing perfect poker. Over $1.5 million in chips now. Gross $500,000, and Koon a little way off at $400K. Will either of them stop Rast running off with the maximum points? Heat 5 continues after the break.
It's all good, buddy. Do what you got to do.
My mind's just absolutely blown.
I'm not even actually surprised.
Welcome back. Heat 5 is down to just 3 players as Daniel Cates busts in 4th place with 7 points. That leaves Jason Koon, Jeff Gross, and Brian Rast at the table. So let's head back to the action here at the Playground Poker Club.
There's a likelihood that we're going to be seeing all 3 of these players at the final table. Guaranteed to see Jeff Gross there.
25,000.
And as for
Fold.
Jason Koon, you're guaranteed to be seeing him at least in the playoffs. You feel like Rast is about at least over 80% probably to get in the playoffs at least.
Call.
Wow, I think I made a massive miscalculation because I was under the impression that I had to beat Jason Koon in order to make it to the top 4, but there's 2 spots available. Jason could come 3rd and I can come 4th. So, because basically there's 2 spots open. There's Jeff Gross and Dan Colman have...
Well, now that Jungleman is out, right.
Yeah.
But if Brian Rast was to win this and have 20...
Brian, it's very... Yeah.
He would be in 5th place going in, wouldn't he?
He would need... Yeah. If Brian Rast won, then he would have 20, and he would basically need 6 points to tie me, and I'm going to be in the same heat as him. So, yeah, I mean, it's... I have a lot better of a chance than I thought.
You're feeling better?
I'm feeling a bit better. I'm feeling a little bit better, Jesse.
So Rast has actually picked up something on the turn. He airballed the flop from the button. Gross check called with the ace. And now he's sort of backdooring his way into something a little bit madness. And now Gross, after check calling, has actually dunked into him on the turn. I wonder if this actually might be a spot where Brian wants to do something a little crazy with outs.
I'm all in.
Raise all in.
That doesn't surprise me.
And
that leads vulnerable to this move.
Exactly. That's exactly why I don't like it. It's just,
he made the move.
It's just like, why turn your hand into a bluff? He's turning his hand into a bluff.
You should just be check calling all the way.
I mean, you don't have a strong hand. You're not calling a shove. Like, Rast should be shoving every draw.
And yet, if he's done it to induce sickness with the intention of calling,
then it would be genius.
Then he's genius.
Oh, I think you actually have a hand, though. You know I have a hand. It's 30 blinds just shipping it, huh? 30 big blinds. Wow. Sorry, Jason, I'm in weird spots.
Take your time, buddy.
This is fast, by the way. All this heats, we're gonna be done pretty early tonight.
Jason says if you really have to think about calling, take your time, buddy. Take all the time
World's
you
best
need.
right here, just pumping at me, pumping at his buddy.
Any big pot going on right now that Jason Koon's not involved in, he's happy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's, you know.
You could just have me this time.
That's exactly what you said, Sorel. I mean, he could just have him, and that's why he can't call, really.
It's too many blinds. Exactly. I don't even know how many blinds it is. It's like 30 blinds.
This is gonna happen. He has to expect that this is one of the outcomes, and he's basically like losing the equity of his hand by leading the tournament.
By the way, would Rast have ever done that outless?
I know at least one of the two I had the best hand. I don't know if it was both. I just hope it wasn't both. Like I can live with 1 out of 2 and having my stack.
I think
he
could have
raised
outless,
if you're just
but I don't think he
rationalizing
would've
2 for 2 there, that hurts.
Well, the truth will come out.
Right. Yeah, I know. You get
Pretty
to do a
soon.
little show off.
He's playing
stuff,
great
but
though. I mean,
for now, I will
Rast
keep them a secret.
All
he doesn't
the
have
spots.
to win every pot.
My name is Brian Rast. I've been playing poker for like 9 or 10 years. I feel like I'm pretty well known and respected within a circle of poker professionals who know like I've been playing high stakes cash games for a long time. I mean, I go to Macau, I play in the biggest games there. I play in the biggest games every summer in Vegas. But you know, there's a lot of people that don't know that. And I feel like this is an opportunity for me to, you know, go play a bunch of good players and show that I can hang. And I enjoy the challenge. You know, I'm ready for that. I haven't played many of these televised events, really. I mean, this is one of the first ones. Everyone at this event really knows each other. So if I just came out and basically won the first one I played, that'd be a pretty bold statement. Beyond just bragging rights with my friends, the most important reason is, you know, the statement it makes about my career and the money. But, you know, bragging rights with your friends is always nice at the end of the day, too.
Big blind.
I just gave that one up, so it's like almost every pot there.
When he said,
let's be fair.
You know, I'm willing to look like the stupidest man alive.
25,000.
I'd call Phil Laak with ace high for my entire Premier League. That was incredible.
Split them and put them back on the scanner.
Oh yeah, sorry.
He really. Oh no, really? Well, it's just going to be a little ugly now because you kind of feel like Gross is sort of primed to make a 3-bet here.
Yeah.
All in.
Raise all in. Call.
God, he got that quick.
Good timing. That's why I don't do that stuff, you know, because like they're supposed to shove, but he just has it.
And you know that was really, as Jeff said, that's why he doesn't do that stuff. But he was kind of like,
He's frustrated. And
well, Rast
Man, the Kings would have been like more fun. This is not as fun. This is like this is Sean Deeb World Series. Need 2 6s, like clubs. Yeah, it could happen.
But he's still podiumed.
He's still podium. No one can take that away from him.
I mean,
he's the king of the podium.
Yeah, I need a 9. 7.
Yeah,
I don't even want these
9, 7, or 6
ones.
to be
I'm not
alive.
gonna want. I don't want these ones. These are pretty dirty. Nice hands too.
Oh, we're now a jack.
It's what I like to call a spray.
I forgot the
You just
jack.
spray it in and pray that they don't have it. And that's the Phil Laak special, you know? Spray and pray. You love this.
Sometimes,
you
know.
invented
Jack
this.
for Jack. I'm not even actually surprised.
Oh my God.
Honestly, I think it's so weird. I'm sitting here, people in the booth that keep falling out of their hands. It's like, this is Montreal. Like, let's get it. Let's just. A6, that's a good hand. Had 3-handed Rast. What do you want me to do? You're abusing me. I can't go post flop and just flop top pair and fold. It's exploitable. So Laak and Dan, they both know it's exploitable. Like at some point, I gotta take a stand. He's got less chips, but I gotta gamble. I'm not just gonna let you run me over, Rast. So just know A6, I will pile it in.
Trust me, Jeff. I've heard this. You know how many times I've heard that speech you're giving me right now? It's all good, buddy. Do what you gotta do.
What Jeff Gross needs to do this hand is put his head down and take the chips.
Yeah,
I'll pull it. That's pretty sick.
That was pretty sick.
If I'm Jason, I even feel a little sick.
That is pretty
amazing.
amazing.
My mind's just absolutely blown.
I can't believe these guys are professionals.
Basically, they're basically trying to convince the other person that they've run worse.
25,000.
He's played great every day, Jeff Gross, but I think he just survived the super spew. Very little between Jeff Gross and Jason Koon here.
Call.
Brian Rast has all the rest, and it's only been 94 hands.
Heads up. Check.
This is kind of a big hand as far as both guys smashing the flop. I mean,
25,000.
three-handed, this is considered smashing the flop, right? Queen 5. Until the pot gets bigger. I mean, Koon's only got like just over 30 big blinds. Rast has got an aggressive reputation. I wonder if he's going to have trouble folding this. I mean, I wonder if he's supposed to just spray and pray, as you said.
68,000.
Yeah, Koon's not the type of player. He does not specialize in the spray and pray. But that being said,
there's so many bad scare cards if he calls here. I mean, what are his other options? Isn't calling, like, doesn't this just
Call
make
69?
this tricky for him?
it does, but he has the added benefit of having the backdoor flush draw, which I think factors in a little bit. Like, he knows that he doesn't have to fold if a heart comes.
I think he's just committed to if he sees a spade, he's going to get away from it. And we might just see some hold on Koon. I think he wanted the option to get away if, like, certain cards came, I think.
He's only got like a pot and a half back, Koon. So like
he's seen if he can also defend against, you know, ace 10, ace queen. Rast is gonna go out and say I have better than ace 10.
I think Koon is gonna give it up at this point.
87,000.
I happen to agree.
And why? Why do you give it up right now?
Well, Jason Koon, he's like, you know, he's on the tight side, and he, I mean, Rast could easily have a jack. He could have, like, unless Koon just decides, okay, he has a flush draw, and I'm just going to call down unless a spade comes. Like, Queen 5 is extremely vulnerable.
Right.
A spade could come.
So he can only beat, like, Rast really having air here.
Yeah. Well, air, flush draw.
87 call.
I wonder if he's just mentally committed, that if he's mentally all in a sense.
There's just so many cards that aren't going to be good for him on the river. And he's only got 198,000 left.
Is Brian Rast, he kind of, even if Jason Koon has a jack, he has to bet all in anyway. right? Because if he checks, Koon will go all in with the jack, in a sense.
Right, but he may think that Koon has a smaller flush draw and then deuce, but I think he's going to go for the value here.
Of course.
And just shove.
Of course.
Yeah.
Look how big the pot is, the stack sizes. It doesn't matter. It's like
I mean,
he's
Rast
just
can't
like
be feeling great
he's just
about
trying
it,
to be the king.
But this is a spot
All
where,
in.
yeah,
All in.
you're Brian.
Fold.
Oh, he folded.
Koon could easily have a jack there. He's playing a jack the exact same way.
Ah, so because he could have a jack there, he's supposed to Rast is supposed to understand that he might have to check the river. Exactly. Get up on the river.
Oh, Jeff, you live a blessed life, buddy. Oh my God, that's the absolute sickest beat ever for me, right there. If I get second, I'm auto lock for final table. Auto lock.
Well, now I think Koon is telling what he believes is the absolute truth. He thinks those 2 points are vital, and I'll bet he's done his homework.
25,000.
Let's just guess that he's right.
You want to? He probably is right.
164.
He's saying that if he gets second, he's guaranteed.
Second is 11 points.
164,000.
Okay, and how many points does he have now?
20. And we're about to be heads up. Well, if the ace-king can outrun the 2 threes. But the way Rast has been running,
that people do something.
That felt like he had queens when he said that, didn't it?
No, I don't mean that I just mean I open and like I get shoved on when I have it.
I know, I'm just saying it's funny, like when you said it like that, it's like, I thought you had like the king
Well,
race.
it's a pretty big hand.
It's an ace-king.
I'm not saying it's going to win, it's just I'm more than happy to call.
So for Jason Koon thinks this is quite big for him. That's not a great flop. Although he's technically, well, by the rules of poker, he's ahead. By the rules of equity, he's behind. By the rules of Jason Koon, he can leave.
This is
10-8 queen.
Is it like half the deck?
Queen
It's
8.
actually
It's like too
King,
many.
jack, or heart.
All
but the 3 of hearts is
Deuce of
hard.
diamonds.
under
yeah,
10, I
They
think.
took that one away. Oh no, you
All
wrecked
the black cards
stack.
under 10. Some of the diamonds as well.
All right.
Damn, bro. I'm sure I'll have to play heads up now after all this.
Jason
nonsense.
Koon out in third place.
Good plan.
He's done all he can on the points
gift of the year.
And now it's just a waiting
God.
game
That
as
was
the
like
final
45
heat
bigs
plays
you
out
shoved, right?
to determine
No,
his late place.
it was.
The Premier League stuff is sick, bro.
So Koon looks in a good spot with 29 points, but it will only take 2 people to overtake him in the last match to push him into the playoffs. That could be either Mizzi, Duhamel, or Brian Rast.
It's 29 points for Jason and a bit of a sweat now as to whether he makes it straight into the final table. I just have to say, though, I mean, the Premier League has not been kind to you. You've just run appallingly.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like every single day I come here, something like completely gut-wrenching happens. I go from being 91.5% to being like 3rd or 2nd in the overall like lock to go to the final table to, yeah, getting cheated out of that, and then now I just have to sweat tomorrow and see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes on the rest of the players and see who gets into the heads-up matches, and we will see you again. Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Coming up after the break, it's Jeff Gross versus Brian Rast for all the points.
I would be a little worried about this one, JG.
Rast, I am in Barney Rubble trouble.
And we are heads up here for Heat 5, Brian and Jeff. Now you guys both have another heat to go. Obviously you want to get the maximum points in this one though.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sticking to my strategy, and I'm short, heads up, but we'll see what happens, and obviously happy to get 1st, 2nd, and either 1st or 2nd going into tomorrow.
And it's been working for you so far, and it would be great to really take a win right now for you considering the points.
Yeah, I mean, getting these 3 extra points will be important to me. I feel like I've already really set myself up in very strong position to make the heads up, but if I want to try to make a run at skipping that and going straight to the final table, then a win here would be huge.
Okay, well, let's get the cards in the air.
Heads up. And Jeff Gross with 11 points guaranteed. Both these players 11 points guaranteed.
Cool.
Call.
We'll have 36. I guess Jeff Gross is now, he's guaranteed to be chip leader at the final table, isn't he? Dan Colman has 37 in the bag. So Jeff Gross, if he comes 2nd here, will have to only get no worse than 8th.
It's a pretty big lock, but
yeah, it's a pretty big lock.
Check.
winning for Jeff Gross will be the lock. He'll have absolutely nothing to gain at the final heat except for just the money of the points,
which is something. I mean, it's still $2,000 a point.
$2,000 a point, for sure. Plus, no, I think it's 1,000 chips per point at the final table as well.
Call.
And interesting call from Gross. I mean, if he's prepared to bluff the river, I guess there's a bunch of reasons for it. Or that reason. Really? You're not even sure if that's enough of a reason.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, he's in position, so he's got that, but
37,000.
I just don't think, I think it's fine if he's planning on bluffing the river, but
I mean, it's not even an up and down straight draw. It's just a down. There's no up.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, if he just doesn't think Rast has a queen and he wants to bluff here, then I don't mind it, but you can't just call to try to hit a straight when a 4-card straight's already up there. I would love to see a raise from JG here.
Raise to 85,000.
He had the plan and he went with it. You can't fault him for that. If he's going to call there, he's got to raise.
And if Rast is actually considering calling here, it's a really small bet. It just looks super strong. That it would just be that the end. Yeah, it'll be the end is right. Is that in his mind, if Gross actually had the straight, he would have raised the turn. Like, that would be what he's saying to himself for some reason. That's why it doesn't make sense to him.
Yeah.
Or he would raise more. There's something that doesn't add up.
It's really only those hands, huh?
I mean, what's going through Rast's mind is exactly what you said. Like if JG did in fact have a queen, he probably would have raised the turn, or he would have raised more on the river. So there's like two things that indicate that he might not have a queen.
It could be ace queen of hearts, I guess, and that he was just had him so nutterballed up that. But then he still would raise more because he would say to himself that
if he does have a queen, then yeah, I mean
that I've got ace queen,
yeah, exactly, for sure.
It's a possibility.
If he had ace queen here, I feel like he would raise a lot more because Rast is never going to fold a queen.
It's basically he's being asked to make a hero fold. Rast made a hero fold.
Wow.
It's kind of a weird thing, but it's true.
Wow. He got inside his head.
Kid's got moves.
The limp. I might implement it. It's confusing.
And so what do you think the deciding factor was? He just said, well, JG doesn't have enough heart to do that.
He might have been thinking, well, it doesn't feel like it adds up because I would never do this, but JG might. That might have just been entering his head. I know that's what I'd be thinking, and I probably would end up folding as well.
Exactly.
$32,000 total.
Jeff's overall strategy should be to just sort of pump the pots up a little bit and look for spots because he's playing against Brian, who's so experienced.
Well, it depends on what Jeff believes. Like, if Jeff thinks that he has an edge on Brian, then, he should be playing small pots. But if he thinks that Brian has a significant edge on him, then, yeah, I mean, he should probably take a bigger variance or a more high variance approach and try to get in, with hands that are marginal. A lot more pre-flop. So
there was
just push the action.
A big argument that was happening before this heat began between Jungleman and Dan Colman. And the argument was based on the fact about whether Dan Colman in a heads-up spot should be leading with bottom pair on the flop. And Jungleman said he is 100% convinced that you should never be leading bottom pair.
Bet 32,000.
I could have guessed exactly who would say what in that spot. It's just. Go ahead.
Well, and Dan said the opposite. And we'll just have a spot right here where Rast flopped bottom pair and decided to check it, and now he's going for a bet on the turn.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Rast thinks he has the best hand right now. I mean, if Jeff Gross checks the flop here, I don't think Rast has any reason to believe that he's behind at this point. So I think he's just betting because, you know, to protect the equity that he has.
Call. And obviously Gross has got a lot of outs. I mean,
strangely, I think one of the hands, if a heart had come there, I think that 4-7 Rast is going to easily give it up. I think he's just thinking that's kind of in the float range thing. And I don't know. Well, Jeff
could have really kept his options
this
open.
This is also where
by
Jeff could take his hand
in
from a value hand that lost its value to turn it, you know, into a bluff. I don't mind that.
I think he's vulnerable for getting called here, don't
you know, I would bet with a king 10 with the 10 of hearts now. I'd be like, I've got to be good, right?
Yeah, but Jeff Gross checked back the flop, and that's why.
That's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
He bet, didn't he?
Yep.
This is good.
90,000.
I kind of like it. I think it's going to get through.
I don't.
90.
It's a big bet.
It's big enough, though. That's the thing. That he had to do it big enough. I think Jeff has found a good line here. He's also plays tight. Remember, he doesn't bluff.
Well, here's the thing. He doesn't bluff, but he also, I mean, he does bluff sometimes, but Rast also knows that Jeff does not value bet light.
Right. That's right. So it's polarized more often. It's not a blend. It's not like some king 8 all the time.
Right. And speaking of king 8, it's interesting you mentioned that hand because that's the hand that I value bet light against Jeff, which he was shocked that I would value bet there. And if he's shocked that I would value bet there, that light, then he probably doesn't value bet very light.
Wow, he got it through again. And so Brian Rast, now we've seen what his image is of Jeff Gross. He is not going to pay him off.
Right.
I am not going to pay you off on the river, Jeff Gross. And if Jeff Gross, it looks like he may have realized that, we could have a match on our hands. I mean, when does Brian Rast...
No, I will admit I am a bit surprised you bet the river. I was not expecting that.
It's because he had the weakest hand, and that was his only way out.
When does Brian Rast learn? And when does he adjust? Sooner or later, he's going to have to get curious.
JG played the first couple of heats exactly the same way. Knit until it was heads up, then steal, raise,
16, right?
mind
Yeah, he's in
warp.
for 16.
Yeah, it's hard to play against
a mind warp.
Nice hand.
It's hard to make that adjustment.
No, I mean, I had a good hand. I'm not
you're playing against somebody who
is
like very well known for being tight. But at the same time, Rast has had the privilege of watching.
Come on. I mean, what was Jeff Gross representing there? That he checked back the flush draw, flatted the flush on the turn, and bombed on the river?
It basically looks like he has a 9 that he's... I mean, he could have a king with a heart or a 9, but I don't think that Gross would value bet a weak 9. I think he would just give it up. Or just check, being happy that he's probably going to win the pot. And I definitely agree, Jesse, that he should probably bet the flop to keep his options open. And you know, Brian just had one of those hands that he just decided, okay, well, I'm not gonna pay him off here. Like,
but it's great. I mean, this is now this is an interesting. Not that it was an interesting match before, but Jeff's got him on the back foot. I mean, he's actually kind of pounded Brian in the 2 spots where Brian Rast should have won the pot and put chips in.
Yeah, I think
bet 35,000.
It's kind of funny. It's, you know, Jeff is doing the same thing to Rast as he did to me when I had the big chip lead, and just kind of like sticking around and making Brian's life difficult in these spots. And I think Brian is just kind of like he's pretty confident that he's going to win this, and he wants to pick his spots more wisely. So I can't fault Brian for folding there. Like, there's just going to be so many better spots. Like, Brian can just chip
JG
away.
going to hold on all the way through. This is brilliant. If he blanks off, that's like a bad blank though. But like, what if a 3 of clubs came?
I think Rast is giving out.
Was it 4 of clubs coming?
Heart? Has Rast even got the heart?
By the way, if a 4 of clubs came, how was the call? Was it a call with the 4 of clubs? Is Gross really tuned into his king high power? I mean, this is some sick stuff.
He might be. I mean, Rast
knows the only way out is to bet.
He's just on it today. Rast is really.
Does Rast know a certain size bet will get him to fold? This is going to get him to fold.
77,000.
Right? Now, if Jeff Gross calls here, then I'm definitely worshiping the ground he walks on like more than before, which was so much. Remember, I'm changing his wake-up alarm to "You are the best."
Just do it.
I feel like it's 1 in 8 that he calls,
do
right?
it, baby.
It's 1 in 8 that he calls because you have to be super high level, best pro in the world to just fold. Can he fold?
I'll give you 7-1 that he folds.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. I mean,
he's probably gonna fold. How can he call? He's just posturing. God, if he called, we would
He
all.
could raise though. I mean,
give me a free roll. If he calls, that you'll. Oh, he's gonna fold. That's his fold flow.
Yep, he took the chip off the card.
Pretty sure I got rivered one way or the other. Fold.
The problem with making those comments, like I'm pretty sure I got rivered, is that it's giving Rast like such a big insight into like how he thinks about the game. It's kind of like you would think it's an innocent remark, and it's kind of, but you know, everyone sort of knows at this point like what everyone is capable of. So I guess it's not that big of a deal.
This is wild. The 8-16 level, it's like 6-handed a lot, right? Or 5-handed maybe.
Yeah. This is the fastest one.
Yeah, it's a little confusing.
Yes, that this could turn into a very long match depending on Jeff Gross's next double up or all in a sense.
Yeah, I mean the blinds are 8-16 right now, and Jeff has about just over 20 big blinds. So you know, if Jeff gets a double up here, he's definitely going to be in contention to make it a long match.
Call.
We've got action here. Gross on the button. Check. And do you think because of Rast's overall game plan, he's like not going to push a hand
25,000.
like this? He's going to actually play it quite slow.
Yes.
Play it small.
Definitely. And I also think that would have been a good spot for Gross to just ship it. This is interesting because I'd be curious to know if Rast was calling a shove or not. I don't think he is.
All in?
We raise all in.
But you're about to
all in
find
call.
Wow, he called instantly. Instantly. See, I'm not a fan.
I was like, yesterday I checked, I bet the ace high flop with nothing. Maybe the Miz. You actually had a hand. That was a real hand.
You're just short, you know? I mean.
Yeah. You got what do you have? It's not like you have 7 high.
Yeah. Wow.
I can fade these kind of things.
Yeah.
Like some people, this card's like action to me. I'm just like,
this is a big one.
I
would be a little worried about this one, JG.
No.
I don't need a jack.
It's going to pair the board. He's hit a lot today.
Yeah.
Not this one, and this game is wide open now.
They're going to bail me out.
And I don't know. Based on everything Rast has done so far,
some people, like most people, are drawing dead. I'm like
92%. No, you know, now that I think of it, you know, you're raising
in Montreal,
there
not
to
like always,
basically get it in with your equity. Like if you call there, then you're going to be put in a bad spot on the turn. You're basically. And also Rast knows that Jeff is going to fold if he doesn't have an ace.
Nice hand, Jeff.
Thank you. That's where I'm from, the ace deuce, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Gotta play that hand hard.
Of course.
That's my balance range.
I wasn't trying to get you to fold an ace.
I know.
I was just hoping you didn't have anything.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying yeah, of course. You have a flush draw. It's not good 7-6, like no draw. But I'm saying I don't think you necessarily thought I had to have an ace there.
So Dan, how do you like the way that Brian Rast is approaching Jeff Gross? Because you had plenty of experience with it.
Yeah, I feel like Jeff plays way too tight from both positions, small blind and big blind. So I think you can open close to 100%. I like Sorel's strategy, though, of just limping a good amount to your middle hands versus him, but then you min-raise your top and bottom of the range.
32,000.
It's interesting. I mean, that just seems like that Jeff Gross has kind of raised his game. He plays this one game, and then when he needs to raise it, he kind of reaches down and pulls something out of it a little bit. It also doesn't hurt to hit your share of flops, I guess.
Well, and Rast is not going to fold to a single bet here, but I guess he won't have to. See, I mean, what do you think of that check, Dan?
The check back there, I don't like it whatsoever. You have to be betting your good hands and your trash hands in that spot.
Yeah.
Checking back, it's just tricky, but for no reason.
Right. There's so many hands. Like Rast is never check folding an ace high, right?
It just makes his c-bet range on that board incredibly weak.
Right.
If he can never have 3 8s there.
Right.
Yeah. 45,000.
And yet, just for some reason, Jeff Gross, I mean, seems to be giving people trouble. I mean, there was a couple spots, you know, the ones where he bluffed you, Sorel, where they were just such strange bluffs. Yeah, he's in trouble now.
That's another reason not to check back to 8-3. No, but yeah, absolutely. And that's what makes him so tough to play against. You know, someone who, you know, you're playing against someone who, you know, you're not used to seeing like this kind of strategy.
So the theme of my heads up, all my made hands, the boards run out so poorly. And I know you have a black card, maybe a spade, because you looked back. I have an 8.
Check.
It's no good.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you figure out what Jeff is doing and how often he's defending, how often he's opening, like
you had an 8.
It makes him a pretty easy target.
I think in the beginning it's tough to play against because, yeah, it's a tricky style. But the more you play, in a small sample it can be tough, but over a large sample, you can really pick off all his mistakes.
It's like
you know?
the same as the deuces when I had a set against Mizzi, like the worst run out, like 4 cards straight, flush run out, and I make some hands, but I mean, he didn't really have much to call in the river. I just
small big guys.
Would have won the pot.
Yeah, like you had been doing all right. You had been winning some pots.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. I win that one. Like, who knows? Even the great Rast might like get a little flustered. You're like, you're not gonna panic like jungle panic, but you're gonna be like, you're gonna be like, uh-oh, like JG could really do it, you know?
But were you thinking the same way that Brian is thinking, which is that Jeff doesn't really have much of a bluffing range on rivers? You know. Were you prepared to do any hero calling on the rivers?
No, I thought he was pretty capable. He plays tricky. I think he was capable of making bluffs on the river, but also he can get to river spots with made hands, you know, where you don't think he could have one.
So Brian's raising here is good.
79,000 total.
It's one of those things like Gross has to decide, okay, most of the time he's just going to have to fold or go all in. There's not many hands he can call with.
Confusing math.
Yeah, I like this raise with 7-4 suited.
This is really out of your book.
Yeah, with the stack sizes, you can put people in tough spots, make a small 3-bet. Yeah, it's a good play.
So this peel by Jeff Gross, is that the one thing you wouldn't? Oh no, he's gone for a small 4-bet. Wow.
I don't like this play. I think you just call it a 3-bet pretty easily.
Really? You think peeling is okay?
Yeah.
I don't mind the 3-bet as much. I mean, I think now he's putting Rast in the exact same position that Rast put him in. I mean, yeah, he's got equity in his hand, but and he can afford to call the 3-bet, but it's not a great hand to call a 3-bet with, is it? I mean, ace-5 with those stacks.
It's a 4-bet, really. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying like Jeff, it's not a great hand for Jeff to call the 3-bet. I think I actually kind of like the 4-bet.
I can understand folding a hand, maybe like ace-6 off, maybe putting a 4-bet, but ace-5, I think you have more than enough equity to just call the 3-bet.
And I think this is Rast a little bit unsure. Maybe he has fold equity. Maybe Jeff Gross is bluffing. Not really sure. Now he's just kind of hoping to hit the flop, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, I think he also knows that Jeff has chosen to check back when a lot of the times when he shouldn't. So, and plus, I mean, the odds are so good. This is getting in. This is 100% getting in, right, Dan? It's gonna go check raise.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, unless Jeff checks back. He has been known to check back when he hits the flop.
I mean, how much has he got? He's got about 350 back, maybe. It's only just over a pot-sized bet.
Yeah.
Shouldn't he just sling it?
I think his hand is strong enough where he should bet call. I don't think, because slinging it kind of gets a queen X to fold, and yeah, at this point I don't think there's any other option for Rast other than to go all in.
And Rast is thinking to himself, I'm about to double him up twice.
All in.
Raise all in?
I had you on Queen King. I don't know what to do. I'll call.
All in.
I don't know what to do. I call. He said, I don't know what to do, and I call in the same breath.
Brilliant. So Rast's second flush draw, and for Jeff Gross, oh my gosh, there's $1 million in this pot.
This
one
is a
feels
big
a little
hand.
dodgy, even though I have a blocker.
Wow, that's a good card. We might be here all night, boys.
Tell you what, Gross has gotten it in good now twice.
I kind of want to see a double here.
Take it, baby.
Wow. I mean, he just did the exact. He's good at just evening it up, you know.
What do you think, Dan? This is not the way Rast scripted this for himself.
No, this could be quite a comeback.
That's quite an action flop for those marginal hands.
Yes, it was.
Heat 5 is heads up. Jason Koon is out in third with 9 points, leaving Jeff Gross and Brian Rast to battle it out for the maximum 14 points. Jesse May leads the commentary team.
You can see the difference in these stats. I mean, Rast, so aggressive. Steal attempts, especially in this heat, and he's won over twice as many pots as Jeff Gross. But is he starting to get a little bit... Listen, 3 points between first and second. All of a sudden, if Rast comes second here, he's now only got 17 points. He's tied with Jonathan Duhamel going into that last heat. I mean, then everything changes, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
He has to really play tactically in the last heat if he gets second here, Rast, and not nearly so tactically if he wins.
Wow, I think Rast is still pretty comfortable. I mean, they're playing deep stack heads up.
Mizzi hasn't any skill guessing.
This is Rast's bread and butter. But you know, JG has proven himself like to be a worthy adversary. He's a hard guy to beat.
I mean, if you really want to tilt Rast, not only has he gotten it in bad twice in the all-ins, but he's gotten bluffed twice. I mean, he's gotten beat.
Bet 31,000.
He's losing.
I mean, JG is definitely has been winning this match.
And this is actually a hold on that Jeff wasn't doing in his first 2 heads-up matches right here.
Check.
I mean, I think he was kind of folding in these spots.
Yeah.
Earlier,
Oh wow. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a correct call. Also,
right. Wait, Jeff check called on the flop.
Yeah,
I think that's a good call.
Yeah, but he was actually giving those spots up. I think.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think he's
adjusting.
He is adjusting.
And that's probably why
105
Rast checked back. I mean, obviously, Jeff would have called anyway because he picked up the flush draw. But when right now when Jeff Gross calls your flop bet, you think pair or better.
Right. I can't really see Rast calling here. I can see him raising. But I think folding is the most likely.
Flush. Call.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy. He's getting hammered.
What is going
on? He finally decided I've got to check out Jeff Gross on these river bets.
Yeah.
His mind's like Swiss cheese right now.
The 6 just completed everything. It completed the 8-9.
The 8-9 was already completed on the turn, but...
Yeah, the 8-9. Oh, yeah, right. The 8-9 was completed. And the flush got there. I don't know, Dan. What do you think about the call on river?
I don't think you're beating much.
Yeah. I really thought you might have had king or ace high.
Felt like a used car salesman on that one, Rusty, but I'm just going to give it to
you. You can try to win every one.
Every one. I've been pretty good about not doing a lot. Just kind of hanging out, holding on, getting set up flops and holding,
He's a good friend of mine. Really nice guy.
I have my own thing. I experimented, I studied, I put in the time, and I'll just let him bark.
One of the smartest guys I know. Super tough player.
I would bet a lot of money at even money, like the farm that you don't have me beat. He's young. He, has had a lot of really good results.
I'm not just going to let you run me over, Rast.
I have a lot of respect for his game.
It's all good, buddy. Do what you got to do.
I think he's going to do well in this.
Way to go, Jeff. I mean, I'm proud of him. He's a young guy. He's got his act together, and he's also a good friend of mine.
Pretty excited about what's going on, but that would have been really something.
I mean, you say, it is a heads-up
enjoying
deep
that
cash
extra
game,
$6
but
grand
the
he got
fact
off
is,
me.
the difference is that the blinds go up every 21
You want to make it hard, too, he said,
because of that, you can't let spots go by where, like, normally blinds stay the same, you're deep. You know what I mean? After 21 hands, like, 63
I didn't
hands,
see your
it's a
match with
crapshoot.
Mizzi.
Everybody knows that.
I was like,
so maybe that means that Rast should be playing as
I was
many
adjusting
hands as
already. Maybe I
possible
think a
while
couple
they're
adjustments based on you seeing it.
$35,000.
Jeff Gross just said to you, I'm changing my game as much as possible based on the fact that you've been watching. Just to kind of like rattle him in.
But I may not have won a couple of pots if I had not known that, so that's good. Now I know though, now it's weird.
And this was an interesting hold on the flop. Check call with the queen 6 of hearts.
Check.
Like he's just being sticky. He's just gone full sticky mode, from the big blind.
Yeah, And
I think that's a fine call. Defend.
Yeah.
On the flop.
Yeah. 35,000. Call.
Queen high. Queen high.
I think now Rast knows. Okay, this guy's not solid anymore.
I knew I was going to turn a heart, so I had to see it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing. I'm not saying that you shouldn't call there. I'm just saying that Rast now knows
Buddy,
that he
it's
is.
tough
He
to get you to
wasn't
fold.
before.
You're from the Brian Rast school of poker.
I like to play
You
in.
just don't like to fold. Me neither.
What am I supposed to do with Queen 6 suited heads up? Like Queen 7 off's the computer hand. That's 50-50.
No, pre-flop, I totally get it. The flop, not one of your better ones.
I guess I'll take constructive criticism there. But
if you check raise, you
There was a big bet made on the heads-up
Miz
match
just sleeps with
last
angels,
night,
you know?
Dan. Last heat between yourself and Phil. I think Jungleman was betting you. He was laying a huge price.
40,000.
And then you were telling him today, you were like, Jungle, that was so dumb. He was like, you know, no matter how big an edge a guy has in a heads-up match like this, it's really close. And you believe that, right?
Right. It was short stacked, and chips are chips. You know, I was an underdog. He had 1.4 million. I had 1. That's tough to overcome. You know, especially at odds, 1.4 to 1.
And so, like in this match, you know, these get to a spot where, you know, as good as a guy can play, even if you think Brian Rast is very experienced and JG.
Right, one person can you each get dealt a hand. It has to go in, you know.
Right. So I mean, like, it's hard to be more than a 55-60% favorite.
If that, right?
Yeah.
I think less than that.
So Rast has raised this button, and now this is a C bet on the flop that Jeff has check called. I guess
Rast
this
is going to
quite
bet here.
standard. Yeah.
Rast has to bet. I mean, he can't check back because his hand has no equity. I mean, sorry, his hand has equity, obviously, but it has no equity if it bricks. So,
yeah, he has to bet here. Jeff will probably be folding like Jack 8, Jack 9 on this turn. That's throwing a bet.
87,000.
And is Rast backing himself into a spot where he definitely has to three-barrel some rivers because of the fact that Gross may actually have some draws that he misses as well? He may have some combo draws here type of thing?
yeah. And also he could have like Jack 10 and, you know, maybe Queen 10, maybe some sort of heart.
So, I mean, if it
draw.
comes like, you know, if it comes a brick on the river.
87 call.
Whoa! If it comes a brick on the river, we have to expect Rast to fire here.
I wouldn't say 100%. I would say that he
should for sure be firing this card. I think he should be firing a 10, a heart, a club, a king.
Check.
Yeah, because, you know, at this point, Jeff
is also 3-betting pre his. I'm not sure if Rast knows this. He's seen him play heads up during this commentary before. Jeff's 3-betting his king, queen, king, jack. You know, so those hands are kind of out of his range.
So you think actually Jeff Gross's range is really tilted towards sort of like
exactly what he has. Yeah. Maybe Jack 10, Jack 9. Yeah, I kind of favor a bet here as well.
A big one?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man up.
I would say like I would think that.
Check.
Wow, he checks.
That would have been a tough call.
Rast is not gonna like seeing that.
Oh, nice post-mortem from Jeff. It would have been a tough call. I think I would have had to fold.
Yeah, you know, when things aren't going well for you, sometimes like you get off a little, and I mean, I think
board runouts are not very good for me.
I was pretty scared you were gonna make it though.
I don't know. I think I call probably just because I had trouble giving you any. I don't know. I just don't know. But I think I call. I folded enough. I folded a couple weird hands to you today. I'm not sure about. I'm gonna be curious later.
I mean, do you think the reason Brian just thought, look,
this is
I don't want to put myself in a spot where I'm down to 700,000.
Like I said, I was used to be a 2-3 guy. Now I'm like really working on the one thing. So it's like I'm in the middle of that like transition.
Well, that's true. I mean, the thing about heads up play, a heads up tournament, every
I'm
chance
not
you
saying
lose,
so
you're
far.
game.
I mean, so far you've been.
So, yeah, it's really easy to gain a real big
1
lead.
for 2's not bad. I used to be like 1 for 14. Now I'm like 1 for 2, maybe it's gonna be 2 for 3, 1 for 3. It's like those are better odds.
Yeah, he's not a podium guy anymore. He's a silver medalist or better.
Right.
$30,000.
Rast just leads into him, huh?
Yeah, so well, this is like maybe the 3rd or 4th time he's done it. I guess with different types. They did it with bottom pair, middle pair. He did it with the straight draw. Why has he decided that this is a good strategy?
I guess, you know, it's one of those things that if you create that dynamic, you can lead with a ton of different hands. I don't know if I would want to create the dynamic against someone like Jeff, though.
I'm not sure that the stacked ups I ever like leading the middle pair here.
I mean, I did it, you know, when I was playing heads up against Dan Colman online. You know, I did it all the time for a while, and it just tilted the hell out of him. So, I mean, I could, you know, if Rast thinks that it's going to entice some sort of error from Jeff, or he just, you know, perhaps he just wants to create that dynamic for the future, it can't be bad.
I think most of the time, though, if you're betting out middle pair small, you're going to find yourself in some tricky spots where, for instance, the turn comes to 8, now you check, Jeff bets big, then another river, he bets big. You don't know where you are, you're just trying to play a guessing game.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely don't like it with this hand. Like, it's just too strong to bet. It's too strong to lead. And it's
one of those hands,
but it's not strong enough to like handle a bet on the turn.
Ace high. No good. Yeah, I didn't think so. Jungleman would these cards would be in the.
It's interesting. It's interesting that Jeff decides to bet the turn there. Like, I'm not sure exactly why. Like, is he betting there because he thinks he has the best hand and he's trying to like extract value? Is he trying to protect, or is he just doing it as a bluff? I don't know. I mean,
I'm not sure, man.
And Rast is sitting there saying to himself, you know, I was watching when Colman took him on and got a little bit flustered and then came back. I was watching when he flustered Sorel, and then Sorel came back, but he's in the same spot.
I would have called a 3-bet.
He is. I bet he didn't think
that could mean a lot of things for me. That doesn't necessarily.
I had decided while you were sitting there, I thought you were going to do it.
The timing felt like the Premier League right now, yourself and Jeff,
and I didn't
both employed a strategy to play quite tight during the first 2 or 3 levels of every heat.
No, I don't think it's that much of a surprise. I think the correct way is you have to play very tight in the beginning. Try and climb up points, let other people get into confrontations, have big hands meet up with each other, somebody has to lose, just squeak up the ladder. And then in the end, you loosen up your game, try and steal chips in the right spots.
120 total.
Rast picks up aces.
Yeah. This is similar to the kind of hand that Jeff Gross would have been like peeling and then making a move. I mean, this is kind of like.
Yeah, it's a big raise.
I think this is just an easy fold with king 8 off, though. Plays pretty terrible. Yeah. 3-bet pot.
I mean, it's an easy fold or it's an easy 4-bet. I don't mind a 4-bet. I mean, it's not a great hand to 4-bet. Like, it's not one of those great 4-bet hands, but it's.
I really think it's just fighting for chips that you don't have to fight for. You know, you just have king 8, you can let go.
Yeah.
All in.
Oh my God.
Boy. Well.
Oh my
all
God.
in call.
That was a blunder.
Massive blunder.
He just walked into him though, right?
That was just totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one could hurt. This one would be like, I don't even want to use it up. I'll wait till
this one would hurt a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
I am in Barney Rubble trouble.
Oh, that would hurt. It's gonna be hard to chop this one too.
I mean, the reality of it is that
7 of diamonds
Rast
is
is
fun.
gonna
4
fold a
diamonds is
ton
the
of
best
3-bets
card
there.
though, because then we could just split it again. Splitting's fair, Rast. You like sharing with your son.
Splitting is fair, he says. Okay, that's it.
That's a safe card. Get me off my game, Rasty.
Good match, man.
Good game.
He's done
Played
it.
good. I'm curious to watch
Rast
You got this. You got number 1. Okay, you could have afforded.
Contention in the Premier League, and he
let me
has
get a few points here.
Jeff Gross, though, obviously a huge story. He's come
Well
I got
played,
this.
Jeff.
Yeah, I mean,
second.
I could have.
I mean, and he's almost certain to be chip leader
Well
at the final
played.
Happy
table.
for you.
Yeah,
Happy for me. Good game.
Looking at the league standings with just 1 heat left to go, it's Colman at the top, but Jeff Gross needs anything but the bagel in the final match to overtake him. Jason Koon has to wait for his fate from the sidelines. It'll only take 2 people from Esfandiari, Duhamel, Rast, and Mizzi to overtake him and knock him into the playoff zone. It's going to be an all-out battle to the finish line to secure a top 8 place. And with those 14 points, Brian Rast has put himself right back in contention.
And it's a win for Brian and still 1 heat left to go. So, I mean, nothing's certain yet, obviously, for the final table, but it's looking good, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I super happy with today's result. I mean, I'm actually 6th right now, although 3 of the people ahead of me are done. I think in order to make the final table, I'm going to have to come in at least 3rd, like directly. But I think with almost any points, maybe even no points, depending on how this shakes out tomorrow, I'd probably make the heads-up matches.
Does that kind of take a little bit of the pressure off, knowing that you're probably at least going to be getting into that bit?
Oh yeah, a ton of pressure. I mean, couldn't be happier really today with how it went.
Great. Well, good luck in the next one. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Cara.
Well, what a heat. And I mean, really, the story, obviously, King Rast. You know, I'd heard people talk about this guy, Brian Rast, and I didn't know what to expect. Today, he showed us what he's made of.
He really did shine bright like a diamond. You know, like, I knew that once Rast had some chips, we were going to see some exciting pots, and that's exactly what happened. And, you know, Rast, it was looking pretty gloomy for Rast, and he's managed to put himself in a position not only to get top 8 to 5th, but he can actually get top 4 as well.
Yeah,
so,
and that call against Phil Laak could be the hand of the tournament.
That's probably one of the best hands of the Premier League you've ever seen, right? That was incredible, and you know the way he did the deductive logic and figured it out was beautiful. It was a work of art. He really is an architect of the game.
Now, Sorel, you were kind of like eyes wide in there watching all those extreme tactics, and in Heat 6 next time, it's going to be even crazier. You think you're prepared for it?
I feel more prepared than I would be if I didn't watch Sheet 5, that's for sure. But anything can happen, and you know I think I just need to personally get top 6, and I'm pretty locked in. So, you know, that's what I'm going to go for.
Everyone was looking at the sheets. They'll all have them out next time when Heat 6 decides who is going to be at the final table, who's in the playoffs, and who gets booted from the Premier League.
Next time, our top 4 players who've earned a seat at the final table will be revealed, and we'll find out the heads-up lineup for the final 2 spots. It promises to be another exciting show here in Montreal for the Party Poker Premier League Season 7.
How sick are you in the head?
The fish collected, the pros lost.
One time, can I get there?
Whoops.
It's been a fun Premier League.
Yes!